What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and we are so close to the 2023 NFL Draft. Less than a week from today, we will know who the New York Giants selected with the 25th overall pick in the first round of this year's draft. Can't wait to see what they decide to do there, but I want to talk about what they can do on Friday night, not Thursday night, but Friday night, round 2 of the draft. Day 2 is rounds 2 and 3, and then, of course, day 3 is everything following, but I want to focus in on those day 2 draft picks, potential players that the Giants could target in the second round at the cornerback position, because we've seen the Giants express a lot of interest in some of these big names in this class at the wide receiver spot. We know that they've been interested in targeting guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Jalen Hyatt. These are all wide receiver prospects that they've targeted. So let's kind of go down the rabbit hole here and say, well, we know that there's another position that they need to target, cornerback. But what if the Giants do end up landing one of those top receivers with the 25th overall pick? They still need to address the cornerback spot, and they might want to do that in round 2 because there are some tremendously talented players in this year's cornerback class. And in round 2, there's a couple of players that I've noticed who might be sleeper picks for the Giants with the 57th overall pick, might make a lot of sense. And those two players are DJ Turner and Tyreek Stevenson. Turner out of Michigan, Stevenson out of the U, Miami. So I want to go ahead and dive into these two players and discuss the possibility of the Giants drafting one of them or any cornerback in the second round for that matter. But before we do dive into all of that, make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. Comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. And so let's go ahead and dive into the first player that I want to discuss. That's DJ Turner. Now, it's very interesting seeing DJ Turner versus Tyreek Stevenson on different draft boards. Right now, if you go on the draftnetwork.com, they have DJ Turner as, I believe, their 30th ranked prospect in the draft, something like that. Yeah, number 30 overall. And they don't even have him in the top 30 for PFF. PFF has him way, way lower on their draft board. If you pull that up and take a look at it, they have him at 67. Now, Tyreek Stevenson, he's not even in the top 100 for the Draft Network. However, with PFF, he is ranked 46th overall on their big board. So it's very interesting seeing the difference in different draft boards right now. And as we know, the draft is a crapshoot. These pre-draft rankings, they're not the end-all be-all, but it is worth noting where they're ranking on different draft boards to know their potential value could land them somewhere between the second and third round. So that's why when I dive into these two players, I want to discuss how the Giants could potentially get one of them at 57, or if the cornerback class starts to slide a little bit, they might be available in round 3 when the Giants are picking around the 80s. So I want to dive into DJ Turner, though, and discuss how this freakish athlete could be a great pick for the New York Giants in round 2. This is a player who I think isn't getting enough attention. He's 5'11", 178 pounds, so he's a little light on his feet, but he's 4.26 40-yard dash time at this year's combine. 4.26. That is one of the fastest 40-yard dash times in NFL combine history. He also combined that with a 38.5-inch vertical jump, 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump. The guy is quick, the guy is explosive, and speed kills. And if you want speed at the cornerback position, you're going DJ Turner. He's the fastest cornerback in this class, and he really is a tremendous prospect. If you dive into some of the pros and cons to him, he's got coverage versatility. He played in man and he played in zone at Michigan. He's very technical, and he also just has elite athleticism. Obviously, his big reasons for concern, he's 5'11", 178 pounds. There are concerns about his height, weight, and length. And he also kind of doesn't have the best ball skills necessarily, didn't really have a lot of production in college, and he isn't the strongest guy. So can he succeed as that press man corner? Maybe not. But if you have him in off coverage, a little bit of off zone, off man, I think that he can play really, really well. Again, he has the ability to do both coverages, and he's very tight in man-to-man coverage. But again, he does have some physical strength issues and some concerns in terms of his physicality. However, maybe he puts on some pounds in the league and ends up panning out into a really good prospect. But again, 5'11", 4.26 40-yard dash. Let's go over what PFF has to say about him. And this is their intro to him. Turner has the best speed of anyone in this cornerback class. His movement skills are second to none, too. He still got picked on at Michigan a little more than you'd like with 408 yards allowed this past fall. So did allow a lot of yards, but he did also drop 2 interceptions. So that's worth noting that he was getting his hands on the ball. And again, he lined up mostly on the outside. He only had a few snaps in the slot. This is an outside cornerback. He had an interception this past season, also scored 2 touchdowns according to PFF. So he had 2 pick sixes last season And apparently he also had 2 pick sixes in 2021, which I think is pretty cool. Or maybe they're saying he allowed 2 touchdowns each per year. I think that's what it is. My mistake there. But allowing 2 touchdowns is not a big number considering he started in 14 games. He played over 700 snaps. He was targeted 71 times in coverage. Again, did let up 408 yards this past season, but the year prior, played in 14 games, targeted 59 times, only 267 yards allowed. So a little bit of struggles in his final season of college. But again, this is a player that I really, really like. I think that he has all the tools to be just a solid player in the NFL. And right now, a lot of people have him ranked in the second round, maybe the third round on some classes or on some draft boards. But when you're looking at it, he isn't the tallest cornerback. He doesn't have the longest arms. He doesn't play necessarily with the most physicality, but he really does have a lot of speed. And it kind of reminds me of Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson, a very fast player, not necessarily the biggest, strongest, most menacing presence, right? The Giants have been fine with Adoree Jackson. He's been excellent. He locked down Justin Jefferson in the postseason, and he also was a second-round draft pick. So maybe you can take a look at DJ Turner and say, hey, this is a guy who has a similar skill set, similar frame to Adoree Jackson, has that same playing style. Maybe he can also fit in really well with what Wink Martindale likes to do defensively. So I like DJ Turner out of Michigan. I think that he's a player who has really otherworldly potential because of his speed and athletic profile. But again, there are some things that he needs to shore up. But let's talk about Tyreek Stevenson, who's a much different type of player. Now, he is not your fast burner of a cornerback. Instead, he's your 6 foot, 198-pound cornerback with 32-inch arms and 10-inch hands. Like, this is a big guy. He's a physical presence. He only ran a 4.45 40-yard dash, but he combined that with a 1.51 10-yard split, which is really, really good. Additionally, he also had a 38.5-inch vertical jump and a 10-foot 5-inch broad jump. So he tested pretty well at the combine. And his NFL comparison by Lance Zierlein of NFL.com is James Bradberry. So we know how good the Giants defense was when they had Adoree Jackson and James Bradberry. Well, what if they maybe go ahead, find another one of those big press zone corners like a James Bradberry, throw him back into the defense, combine him with Adoree Jackson? Tyreek Stevenson could potentially be that guy out of Miami. He has pretty good height, speed combination here. Again, the 4.51 40-yard dash time is pretty good considering he's 198 pounds. He has great ball skills, can make 50-50 balls his. He can win those and create interceptions and attack the ball. He has a high catch point. So this is a player who, again, very different from DJ Turner, not as athletically gifted, but really is physical. And so a lot of fans like those physical cornerbacks and the way that they project into Wink Martindale's defense. And Tyreek Stevenson, again, flying up the draft board lately. He's been getting a lot more looks. A lot more analysts are really taking a liking to him as we get closer to the combine or closer to the 2023 NFL draft. And here's some of the analysis that PFF has to give. So stoutly built for a corner, imposes will on receivers, always brings his feet under himself, doesn't get overextended. Press technique is consistent and physical. Won't see him getting dusted off the line. And again, I think that's where we can talk about how Tyreek Stevenson fits in really well with the New York Giants, because we know that Wink Martindale wants to play some physical at the line of scrimmage press cornerbacks in his defense. That's what he's looking for. And Tyreek Stevenson, he's not going to get dusted off the line. He has the physicality. He is going to get in the face of opposing receivers and knock them off their release packages. And that's where he makes a lot of sense for the New York Giants defense. Again, when you're looking at DJ Turner, I didn't mention, but his NFL comparison, according to Lance Zierlein of NFL.com, is Avonte Maddox. He's one of your faster, wiry cornerbacks who has the ability to make plays on the ball because of his closeout speed. But Tyreek Stevenson is a much different brand of cornerback. He doesn't have the physical tools. He doesn't have the athleticism to, make crazy highlight reel interceptions because of his speed. However, he has the physicality to bump some receivers, shove some receivers off of him, and make some plays that way. And I think that when you're looking at the state of the NFC East right now, the Giants obviously need to address the cornerback spot because this division is loaded with wide receiver talent. I mean, you're talking about the Commanders having Terry McLaurin, and then, of course, Dallas having CeeDee Lamb, and Philadelphia having both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. The Giants just need to add a second cornerback. They can't continue to get by with just Adoree Jackson. And one of these players, I think that you kind of want to see the way that they match up with the other guys in the NFC East. Tyreek Stevenson probably has a better chance of going up against a guy like an A.J. Brown than, of course, DJ Turner would, because he has that physicality and ability to get in the face of a physical wide receiver at the line of scrimmage. So that's where I think that I'm kind of leaning towards Tyreek Stevenson for the Giants right here. When you're looking at these two prospects, I'm leaning towards Tyreek Stevenson for the Giants specifically, but I just think that DJ Turner has otherworldly potential with that 4.26 speed. And I know speed isn't everything, but he also is a damn good player. He has good technique. He has crazy change of direction skills. He's a very good athlete, and that's very translatable to the cornerback position. So both of these players could be premium targets for the Giants in round two. Again, round one, let's say that they land themselves a Zay Flowers, a Jordan Addison. Well, round two, they should probably try to address the cornerback position there if they don't do it in round one. And I think that both Tyreek Stevenson and DJ Turner should be top targets for the Giants with the 57th overall pick. So when we get to the NFL draft in less than a week here and we get to round two, keep your eyes on a couple of these cornerbacks. I think that when you look at the state of the Giants roster right now, yes, they have Adoree Jackson. He's great, but opposite of him, who's starting there? Is it Cordell Flott, or would you rather invest in a top cornerback in this class, first round or second round, and get a starter, young starter to pair with Adoree Jackson? That's the way that I lean. And again, I would love to see a Joey Porter Jr. in the first round, a Deontay Banks, one of those guys with the 25th overall pick. But if the Giants go wide receiver, I do think that these two prospects would be great fits in the second round of the 2023 NFL draft. But let me know what you think of these two prospects down below in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.